Welcome to Across the Path podcast on location at the Lion on Walton Road. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
So we're coming to you on a Thursday night, is it? Thursday night?
We're about to go to the fans meeting, aren't we? To have hot walk, which we'll put some stuff on our socials, but just thought I'd have a quick pint and do a post-derby. Not even a meltdown because we're used to it, aren't we?
No, I mean, the Reds in our WhatsApp group have been asking us when's the podcast coming out. So, hello, Gary Murray, obviously one of the founders of the podcast. He's looking forward to this one. We've got to touch on the derby and the disappointments really of not only the result but the performance.
I think expectations were quite high with a lot of fans because of what we did against Arsenal, where we looked at a system against a really, really good team. Yeah. And make no mistake about it, the system against Arsenal was majority. I mean, Sky Sports News as a field day showing how many kilometres the Everton players ran against Arsenal. We just sort of expected that. We didn't expect, expansive football and pick Liverpool off and have a silky number 10 and a goal scoring number 9. We expected sort of what we got for the first maybe 20 minutes, where we were quite, not aggressive, but quite clever in our play. We were slowing the game down at times, trying to get their fans, a little bit anxious. And look, if Tarkowski puts that one in at the Anfield Road ends, it possibly is a different game. For me, it was just like he never really had the fight. Yeah. That 13-year-old in midfield they had, who kicked him? No one, he was dancing around players, and you're sort of expecting someone. Onana looked quite cocky in the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes. He was doing his usual away end antics and he was involved in the game. I just expected more, especially from the midfield.
Yeah, I think you're right. The expectations were higher than maybe you would have expected given where we were in the league and our performances other than the Arsenal game. But when you think about it in context of Sean Dyche's previous exploits, if you will, or his previous track records at Burnley, they'd always give teams a tough time at Turf Moor, but they tended to roll over away from home a lot of times, and I'm hoping that's not a pattern for the future. I'm hoping that's just a reflection of maybe the players working so hard last week and in the last few weeks in training, and it's got on top of them, the occasions got the better of them. And let's be honest, Liverpool were miles better than us on the night. They played the way that, unfortunately for us, the way that they have on many big nights at Anfield when they've needed to turn up. They did turn up. And they played with the intensity that I don't think our players could live with, let's be honest, on the night.
Do you think they grew into that though? We sort of allowed them I think Liverpool started the game quite cautious, like they didn't want to get caught. I could be wrong, like people could be in the comments here and say, Mills, you're wrong, which is fair. Wouldn't be the first time. But I think Everton allowed Liverpool to get more comfortable as the game went on. We weren't really in the faces. Yeah,
and we give the ball away far too cheaply, and I think if you give the ball away to any team that's got the quality in the forward positions that Liverpool have, then you're going to put yourselves under pressure. And I think they quickly realised that Everton were not really intending to play. We were just going to try and knock it up to the front man. I think once they worked out that if they won them second balls, that was all we had. Then I think the opposition does grow in confidence when they feel that you're toothless going forward. Yeah, a little bit scared. And there was very, I say scared though. I think we took too many risks on the ball at times, trying to play through, in that defensive third when really it was tough. I think the players, our players, I don't think it was a case of their players growing into the game. I think it was our players almost becoming more fearful as the game went on, that we didn't really have anything to hurt them, and that our game plan of getting in their faces were not really working.
And that's the bigger picture with Everton. It has been for probably since maybe Carlo left. Carlo was a big character, and he had big characters on his coaching staff, and you see Sean Dyche has come in and he's now a big character with big characters on his coaching staff. We've seen interviews with Ian Moan, which is really good on the Everton YouTube channel, but I think for far too long now, this Everton squad, I know the generation younger than us is a different generation, but this Everton squad seems to be of the mindset not really going to work that hard really, and I'm not really going to visibly care that much. I mean, it's a different era, but is our number 9 someone who's getting injections to have the football club and play? Rightly or wrongly, he's not. It's a different generation, and we seem to have a dressing room now of players who will give up. We've seen it a number of times. I'm not saying they give up at Anfield, because I don't think we were really that in the game, other than frustrating for the first 20 minutes or so.
It's habits, mate. I think it's habits. Like I spoke to Liverpool fans before our game who were concerned about their form, and I just said, look, you were playing so long and winning so many games for so long that winning just became a habit, and recently losing's become a habit. those players in our team have lost a lot more games than they've won generally in their career. There's not many players in there you can say are winners. Do you know what I mean? Even the players who've come in and the Conor Codys and the Tarkowskis, they've invariably been on the side that's lost. You know, Idrissa Gana Guy is probably the exception in having a couple of seasons at PSG.
Yeah. But he's got over the hill, not over the hill as such, but he's going that way now. But it's a little bit like he hasn't got that.
He's not in his prime, and he knows he's not in his prime. So I think there were loads of factors. I think just a couple of things to touch on, and I've said it enough times. So for you, Gary, and for the other Reds, you're looking to do the better team on the night, no doubt about that. We deserve to lose. If anything, I was relieved to get away with a 2-0 defeat, because that was hurt the team a lot more to have conceded 4 or 5, which we could have done on another night. So that's one positive, if you like, to take from it. A couple of things, I guess, areas for concern. The 2 wide players, I mean, starting with Iwobi, because we'll come on to McNeil, and there's a bigger picture with McNeil, I suppose. Iwobi went back to the old Iwobi, I think. He looked like he was sulking a little bit for me at times, in terms of like, why am I in the middle? And I don't know, he didn't look like he had much about him at all. He has a little dribble at one point, I think, in the second half, where it looked like we could try and create something, switch the play to McNeil, and McNeil let himself down. But I think in general, I think if you're a player that he was suggesting that he is recently, or that he's capable of being, I think you find a way to get into a game, whatever position you're playing in. And I think what he needed to realise, and what I was disappointed with from his perspective, is he needed to just get involved and try and impact the game off the ball in the first half, and he was nowhere to be seen. He was always behind it. 3 or 4 fouls he made in the first half that actually put us under more pressure. I just think he cut like a frustrated figure in that game.
We could do a show on Alex Iwobi. We could do an entire show, and maybe one day we'll do a live show and get some of the comments. But for me, the reason I'm saying that is, I personally believe that is the real Alex Iwobi, because I've seen that more than I've seen I've seen a number of players at the end of last season, and at very, very limited periods this season, playing well. But I think that's the exception to the rule. I don't think Everton are blessed with an amount of good players. I don't think Alex Iwobi, and you're careful what you say, not only because you don't want this, you don't know who watches these things, you don't want to kill anyone's confidence.
Saying Alex Iwobi's not watching it.
He's probably not, but people, the social media things can be clipped and sent, and you want to be careful that you don't want to go too harsh. But for me, Alex Iwobi's never someone, other than for 3 months in a 4.5-year period, I've seen anything from in a blue shirt. There was, I think, he who shall not be named came in and tried to loan him out, there's, I don't know. Apparently Marco Silva wasn't really for bringing him in, and you could see that he used him sparingly. Carlo used him sparingly. Benitez used him sparingly, and then,
regardless of Iwobi, I think what you're getting at is we've got a lot of players that are not good enough to be playing at the top level because they're not consistent enough.
And we got a bounce last season. We got some sort of bounce, but how many times does a poor team stay up with a bounce? How many times do you watch a team in April going back to the start of the Premier League and go, that's not a very good team, but they're going to stay up because they're given everything? These teams tend to historically get to a point in a season where whatever happens, whether the crowd turn up like we did last season, or the manager changes, or something happens, but you've seen poor teams stay up historically. Everton, a very, very poor team who stayed up last season. Unfortunately for us, we got weaker in the summer, certainly at the top end of the pitch. There wasn't many goals left in that team at all. And the 2 strikers who were there were injury prone as well, and you took one of them away. And you haven't helped the other one with the backup. The backup is now someone who Sunderland fans were saying he's not ready to go back to you. He's not even really ready for us week in, week out. So it's the words you've said there about Iwobi, but the word you said previously about being toothless as a team, I think is a really big part of why we are toothless. Like, I know he's created 5 goal scoring chances, or 5 assists this season, if you will. I don't think it's assists, I think it's 5 goal scoring chances.
He has got 5 assists this year.
But then he's played in a central advanced role. He's put 1 goal on the board in a team that absolutely needs someone right now to not even put the Superman cape on, but to carry on doing what they'd done last season. And he's dropped off completely. And for me, the reason I'm saying this is the exception to the rule was his form at the back end of last season. I really don't think, if someone comes in now, and presses the magic button on Everton and says, we'll give you some new players. Who would you want to replace? For me, he'd probably be one of them. He really would.
Yeah, and he was definitely a player that, you know, the rumour was him and Anthony Gordon were the targets for new contracts. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, for both of them players and for different reasons. But listen, moving past Alex Iwobi, but on that same topic, Dwight McNeil again, you know, we've obviously, Anthony Gordon's now gone, so the competition for those places is limited. You only really got Tamari Gray. But, you know, I'll be disappointed personally if Tamari Gray's not in that starting 11 against Leeds, given the fact that we now know we're not going to have Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well.
He's the only bit of pace that we've really got. You know, take on Lewin of the team. Ben Godfrey can't give you pace up front. Alex Iwobi's playing a different role, but he's not a central player with pace. He never really has been, to be fair. So yeah, I agree. Damari Gray probably should come in for Saturday. We'll cover Saturday's game more in a different show. I think we'll keep to the post-match here. But yeah, McNeil, look, another one. Exception to the rule against Arsenal. Sometimes poor players can put in performances, and we're proud of our own. Any football fan who's watching this, if you support your team, when your players do well, you do tend to. You'll speak to your mate who supports someone else, get a beer mat out, and you put your players in a 1-11 because you naturally do want your players to do well. McNeil, when we signed him, I was quite vocal on this podcast that, you know, the stats don't back that signing up. I really hope I was wrong. The stats are still there. Yeah, he scored. What has he scored? Is it 2 goals this season compared to none last season, which I suppose is some sort of improvement. But did we need 2 goals?
2 goals.
Did we need 2 goals?
Like, assists is not good enough, yeah. Considering he's played most games, by the way.
And you watch him as well, and I watch him, and I don't think he's blessed with pace, and I don't think he's one of those players who, despite the Arsenal stats of running around for 12 kilometres, I don't think naturally, week by week, he's one of those players who the shirt will stick to him. I think, again, there's exceptions in games where he may do that, but the counter-attack on Monday night, where Liverpool broke in the first half, he wasn't really breaking sweat to get back. He was not quick enough. There was a clip the other week with the referee outran him on an Everton defensive action. And so again, exception to the rule for me was him playing well. Another limited player. What I will say is I do feel quite sorry for him. He should never have been signed. He should never have been signed. He's been put into a cauldron with this fan base in this city, at that ground, in this atmosphere. It's a cauldron. Whatever metrics that he hit to be signed, I'd love to see them. I really would, because I do feel for him. I don't think he's good enough, but I feel for him.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. It's a good point. And look, we'll move past the derby. It's been a good few days. I think most Blues will be relieved to hear that we're going to move past it and focus on this.
It doesn't even hurt anymore, does it? That's the thing. It doesn't really hurt. You
no.
It's like the dentist. You've got to go there.
No. And you know what? Just for the record, give me a 2-0 defeat at Anfield in that fashion.
We get out of there,
over a Pickford-esque mistake. You know, and that which was another one really. But look, I think just briefly on that one, it's another game, and I think it's worth noting. It's another game really for me that he got involved too much, Pickford, psychologically, and he was trying to be the man, be the big man, and running over to Robertson and all that when you're 2-0 down. It's embarrassing, isn't it, a little bit? Let's be honest.
Yeah, look, there's elements of like you want your players to fight, and you want your players to show fight on the team, because let's be fair, we've asked for that a number of times, but I don't think that was the moment to really do it. He went over and he sort of... The funny thing about that is he went over with this like hard face. Within a second, he was smiling at Robertson. Like, at least maintain the hard face. Everything's getting to you. Your head's everywhere. He's like one of those lads on a stag do, who will just be like chatting to someone's beard and in front of the fella and hugging the fella, saying sorry. And it's like he just seems everywhere as a character.
No names mentioned.
No names mentioned. We know a few of them. That lad, Newcastle away and Anfield's away. He doesn't turn up. It gets to him.
It does. But look, Newcastle. Leeds at home. It's an understatement to say it's a huge fixture, you know, for them and for us. I mean, it's helped us that they haven't brought in
a new manager
yet. That's absolutely helped us. There's definitely a bit of a mess going on there. That's absolutely worked in our favour, I think. But you know, we're not here to talk about Leeds. We might have a podcast coming with an opposition fan. We're still working on that. But thoughts going into the Leeds game, you know, apart from just the obvious enormity of it, you know, how do we approach this? What do we do?
We're limited to how we can approach it. Like, I mean, you done a show last week, which whatever we didn't get out there, it didn't save or whatever, it lost. And we were talking about having options with maybe a Damari Gray as a central striker, maybe if Ellis Sims would come in at certain points at the Anfield derby. it didn't quite work out that way. Sims started, didn't look ready. Damari Gray came on at an indifferent time in the game to really make an impact.
What's the lesser of two evils then? We've spoke about McNeil and how much he's struggling and how much he's limited. We've seen the fact that he's put the delivery in for the goal, for the Tarkowski goal. We've seen how much Ellis Sims has struggled, yet we need a target man. Just the question is for me, does Damari Gray come in for McNeil or does he come in for Ellis Sims?
McNeil. I think the way Sean Dyche will set this team up will be second balls, win set pieces, win clever fouls, and I think this team needs a target man. Now if Ellis Sims comes off the pitch 70, 80 or 90 minutes on Saturday afternoon and he's been involved in winning a set piece that wins Everton the game, but that's all we can really expect. I'm not expecting a brace from Ellis Sims or a man of the match performance. I think we're limited in what we can do, so you're right in what you're saying, there's only so much we can do. It would have to be, you keep the big man up there and you bring Damari Gray in.
Or does he, I don't think he will, but does he go brave and put two men up there, or do you not think that this team...
I think there's an emergency break glass situation for that, but I don't think it's February. I think he's probably looking at these next two games. It's also not the start of the game, is it? Maybe it's the last 10 minutes or whatever. I think he's looking at these next two games. I listened to his press conference before and he sort of alluded to, he was asked the question, is Saturday a must win? And he alluded to, look, every game's a must win, and he played it down, and I get that. It's a must win though for me. As a fan who's sitting at the back of the ground tonight with a beer with another fan, I'm looking at Saturday going, we can't not beat them, because the Arsenal
win. It's not just the 3 points, is it? It's the fact that us two are, pretty much neck and neck.
But you know what? It's as well. I was thinking about this before about driving down to speak to you. I was thinking about the Arsenal win. The Arsenal win, because of other teams around us, didn't really do a lot for us. It was great because we would have been cast adrift.
That's what I mean. Though
you're looking at wins,
that's why it's not just the 3 points. It's the fact that we're
taking
3 points off 100%,
the opposition.
100%. But let me just pose this one to you, because we obviously now, with the benefit of hindsight, and I'm not saying I was thinking that at the time, we look back at the Wolves game in particular and we go, should have took a point. Yeah. Is there going to be a point in this game, given the fact that we are in February and we're not really in February, we're actually in January, given the World Cup. Is there a point in the game where Sean Dyche will be tempted to go, I'll take the point?
I think there will be, but I think it'll be met with sections of resistance. I think he'll have to be big enough to own that. I think if Everton 1-1, similar to Wolves, and it's 90 minutes, and he passes it back to the goalkeeper opposed to launching it forward. I think,
or is it going to be one of them, we get a corner, he's not going to throw Pickford up, is he?
No, I don't think he would unless we were 2-1 down. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a good question. I think he's a big enough man to maybe own that situation. I think the players against Wolves possibly let Lampard's hands. Maybe Lampard was of the impression that a point is okay.
I think his didn't suggest that he was.
Okay, yeah, but
bring him forward.
It was Tarkowski in a situation who got a little bit antsy, like they passed it back between him and Godfrey, I think it was, or maybe Mina, and he launched it.
But it was met with this from Lampard. It wasn't met with like.
Yeah, okay, right, that's fair enough. But look, there could be a point on Saturday. You're 100% right, where he looks at this and goes, "We'll take a point."
Would you? I know you wouldn't take a point right now.
In the situation, yeah. Look, some points are good. Me and you will be out. For a couple of points after it. If we equalise in the 94th minute and the ground's bouncing, some points are better than others. I think it's what it does to the fans, what it does to the team. If we concede later on again, it's a killer. I'd like to think if it's a drab 1-1 draw and two teams are retreating, I don't think we've got the players to go gung-ho. And I think in February, maybe you don't. And that's going against everything I've just said, by the way, about it being a must-win. You've done well there to contradict myself.
No, but I just think it's worth mentioning, particularly because we had a few games this season where we have been in that position where it's up to the manager or the players to roll the dice, and we've decided to go for it, and we've been caught out. Yeah. I think the other thing about Saturday as well, it's another game for me, and he seems to be that man at the moment. And you spoke about him before, puffing the chest and stuff. And it's a big game for Onana against another opportunity. He seems to be a man who likes to play at home. He said it. He likes playing in front of the Everton fans. Yeah. The way that Dyche plays in terms of being more direct, you've got to say it suits his style. He wants to get amongst it, and I think he wants the ball in that end of the pitch. You don't want him doing his stuff in our own half, despite the fact that little reel of him flicking it past the Arsenal player in our own half has been shown.
But there's a time and a place for that, and the Arsenal game at that moment, it was because it got the crowd back with him, and he seems to me like a young lad who wants confidence, wants to be loved, and that, when it works, he'll feel $1 million for
Let's
that.
be honest, and you raise it at Anfield, he's at the moment the most loved player in that Everton team.
Yeah.
The fans...
And he was most feared. The Reds were saying to us about
yeah.
Onana. So there's opposition fans who were looking at him, seeing the qualities. What I would say about Onana is forget the qualities for now. Like, we are crying out for someone. Just put the cape on. Put the cape on. We're not expecting 10 goals. But if someone can be a man of the match in the remaining 6 or 7 home games and walk off that pitch with sweat and put the club on the back, like there's 2 or 3 players last season who put the club on the back. I think the whole team played well, but there was 2 or 3 who really stood out. That team is crying out for it, absolutely crying out for it. And the striker, I don't think will be it. The backup striker won't be it. I don't think the wingers will be it. I think Damari Gray, if anyone, will be the one who maybe gets some important goals between now and May. But we're crying out for a hero at the minute, and there's no one I think it could be more than Amadou Onana.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we do need to get up to the the fans forum, so just going to ask you for a prediction before we go.
Look, I think, remember last season we played Leeds around the same time, and I think it was around the time that the fans were starting to make banners and flags, and the fan groups were getting involved, and it was a bouncing atmosphere. We won 3-0. I think there's going to be another coach greeting on Saturday, which I hope helps. I think it's the first coach greeting possibly for the manager, because he does a protest, a walk in the last one. So I've got to be confident on this one. I've got to go 2-0 Everton.
Just drinks, yeah?
Yeah, go on, sir.
2-0 Everton.
Just drinks, just for clarity.
Yeah, we're not eating them. Just drink. Proper Everton.
Yeah, you know what? Did you say 2-0? I literally had 2-0 in my head all
I think
the way along.
I've got a good feeling about this game.
I think we'll be 2-0 up, and I think Leeds might make it a squeaky last 5 or 10 minutes. Once some of the players who, the likes of Onana maybe started to tire, I think Leeds might get one, but I'm going to go for 2-1.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
trust me.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's about all we've got time for. I'm looking at the invisible watch there. It's actually there.
Yeah, we're going to go. Like I said, we're going to go over to the fans meeting group, which are talking about best ways to maybe use social media sites like us and fan groups like us to get the message across. The message is very simple, that they want better. The All Together Now hashtag is trending on all social media accounts. Fans want better. They're engaging with us and other fan groups who've got channels to do more, and we're happy to do that. Like, I think it's important to say that there's a platform for both voices.
Yeah.
But this is one voice, and we're going to go down there tonight, man.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll share our feedback and our thoughts later on.
Yeah.
But thanks for watching, and as always, up the fucking toffees.